Happy New Year and good morning. Welcome to the Kitchings table for 2025. Joining me is my co-host, Ronline Cannady. I am Earl Kitchings, and Ronline, it's 2025, and man, things are already popping in 2025.
Let the games begin.
Oh, man. How many games? That's going to be the question. How many games?
That's the trivia for the year.
How many games will be played in 2025? So we're going to see how all that goes. We hope that everyone had a good holiday season and things went as they wanted it to. And we hope that everyone is already looking forward to the new year. I don't make any resolutions. I don't do that. I don't know if you do, Ronline, but for those of you who do, I hope that you meet or exceed your resolutions and goals. For me, just being as successful and productive as I possibly can be and making the year better than it was last year is about the only resolution I have. I mean, other than that, things are too volatile. It's a day-to-day process.
Understood.
So do you make resolutions?
Hey, this has to be the better year than it has been in my entire life.
Oh, my. That's saying a lot when you say your entire life, because that's like, wow, she had some hard years.
Yes, it's a lot of years. So this is one of those milestone years, and this has to be the better year.
Well, I'm sure experts will tell you it's all depending on YOU.
Correct.
And what you do will determine what happens. And if you put in a little, expect a little to come out.
Read what you sow.
But if you pour all you can into it, you're expecting that and more to come out. But sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But no matter what, as the old song from William DeVaughn from back in the day, from 1975, it was a very simple song. And he said 2 words, Ronline, 3 words. I'm sorry, 3 words. Just be thankful. Just be thankful for what you got.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go from there. So today, I'm going to let our topic bring us to a different realm and deal with things that we should all take into account each and every day of our life. And it's called etiquette.
Yes.
Our topic today is it's just etiquette.
It's just etiquette.
Etiquette, So etiquette refers to the conventional requirements in social behavior, prescribed or accepted codes of usage and manners of ceremony, formal observances. In other words, just being polite and correct. Treat other people as you choose to be treated. But there's a way to go about doing it. And when we talk about etiquette, I think we were all raised up with, and I'm going to start from basic and go through this. And then Ronline, there, I was able to find some basic etiquettes for the Z generation in the 21st century, because we are now in this day where everything seems to be on our phone, tablet, or watch. Folks don't seem to be able to live without being able to do that each and every day. I gotta constantly be on my phone. I gotta be on my tablet. I gotta be on my watch. It's a constant barrage of electronic. So I found some etiquette things for people who just can't seem to take themselves away from that cell phone. But before we do that, we're going to go back to the basics from how you and I were raised. And we're going to start with two basic things. You ask for something with the word what?
Please.
You ask, please. Then when you're given that, you say,
thank you.
Okay, so we were brought up, you say please and you say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's just basic. That's just basic. I mean, if you don't get anything else right in etiquette, please, thank you. And I just love being able to challenge young people, children from that perspective, because a lot of times in this day and time, people will tell you, well, children don't understand that. And I'm one of those people like, well, they can be taught. And if you make it repetitious in your teaching, they will learn. Prime example, when COVID happened and everybody had to mask up and children were coming to school and they had to have masks. And one of my morning duties when I was volunteering at the school was to assist kids coming into school, making sure they came in and they got their mask. If they didn't have one, they got a mask. Now, most kids knew what to say.
Mm-hmm.
But for that few where etiquette missed them,
not that they weren't taught, but it missed them. They missed the lesson altogether.
They missed them altogether, which means the people in their house didn't get it either.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do some teaching of etiquette and teach them that when they would come and they needed, because you could not go into school unless you had a mask. Mm-hmm. You know, if you had your own mask, you're good, come on in. But if you didn't have a mask and Mr. Kitchings was passing out the mask, ooh, they gave the task to the wrong guy because he's all about etiquette.
So, a stickler.
A stickler for etiquette. That was the way I was brought up. I'm sorry. But we just said, you know, the two things you learn, please and thank you. Mm-hmm. So when those children would walk up to me, Ronline, and say, well, I need a mask, I would just say, you need a mask what? And you know, you get that deer in the headlight look like, you know what I need? You need a mask what? And they would say, may I not give me a mask, give you a mask? Oh, no. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. You won't get a mask that way. Mm-mm. No. You have to ask for the mask. Huh? Ask for the mask. And there's a way to do that. So you would ask, because I was like, I guess you won't be going to school this morning. And for those administrators who choose to want to let children just have their way with things, it's like, see, that's why they don't have that etiquette in them, because you give them a pass. Just give them a mask. No. This is not just about a mask. This is a learning experience. Mm-hmm. So they will know how to, the next time they want something, they will know how to get it properly. Don't just say, hey, give me one. No, I'm not giving you nothing. So you have to ask for the mask, and there's a way to ask. And it has to be that way, or you'll just be standing there, because I used to just look at them like, I guess you won't be coming to school. So when I would teach them, may I have a mask, please? Oh, okay, sure. You may have a mask, please. Now, when I hand them the mask, Ronline, what would they do?
They will say thank you.
Some of them. Mm-hmm. But some of them would take the mask and think they're just going to run on with the mask.
Okay. And
walk off with the mask. I give them the mask, and they think they're going to walk off. Oh, no.
But so you holding it until they say thank you.
What? What you talking about?
Yes, holding until they say thank you. That's right.
And you know what? They knew what to say.
Mm-hmm.
They knew what to say. And if they did know what to say, if they had a friend there with them, you say, you're supposed to say thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay. Mm-hmm. Or I'll teach you, hey, please, thank you. Please, thank you. So that's just basic etiquette. That's if you're not being taught that, if that's not being taught in a home, then the parents get an F. And it wouldn't matter, and it was kind of a challenging thing, because if an adult came up there and said something like, hey, give me one of those masks, and you give them a look like, if the kids got to ask the right way, so do you.
Yeah, you're supposed to be setting the example at all times.
Right. So how is it that I'm going to let an adult just do that, and kids are standing there watching? Well, you didn't, because you know what the kids will say. You didn't make them say please. Mm-hmm. Ma'am, if you want this math. And for those parents who knew how to be etiquette correct, they would, but for those who have attitude, okay, I'm not trying to have attitude, but a school is a teaching experience.
Yes.
At all levels, from all different ways. So etiquette is just one of those things. Please and thank you. Now, something else. Hold the door for someone when they're coming in. It's simple. Mm-hmm. Now, what I would tell kids too is to kind of layer this with etiquette. If you want to receive some blessings, do something good for somebody else. And you take that blessing and put it in your blessing bank, so that when you need a blessing, you can go to your bank and get one. Mm. But if your blessing bank is empty, just like if your bank account is empty, ain't no need of you going to the bank talking about you going to get some money. Your account is empty. As a matter of fact, when your account stays empty too long at the bank, they close that sucker.
Yes.
So if blessings is a spiritual connotation of having some blessings in your bank, so when you say, well, Lord, I need a blessing today, what if the Lord said, well, if you had some blessings in your bank, I would give you one. Mm. But your bank is empty. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, then Ronline folks be, well, can you just credit me a blessing? No. No. Hey, or Ronline, you can say, Lord, would you please credit me a blessing today, please? Mm-hmm. Okay, that might get you some favor.
Yes.
As long as you say what after that blessing comes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Because this situation was about to go south. Mm. Thank you. Okay. But you better go do something for somebody else so you can repay that blessing. Mm-hmm. And the more times you do something good for somebody else, the more blessings you get. So holding a door. So here's something that they talk about for etiquette. Never lick your knife.
Okay.
Never lick your knife. Now I can think of one reason why you might not want to do that, because you cut your tongue.
Right.
Boy, let me tell you, if you ever burnt the roof of your mouth from eating something hot, imagine what it's like if you cut your tongue. Oh my goodness. Mm. Anything touches it that's sour or got a tang to it or hot, well, your tongue in trouble. So that's one thing. Here's one. Never take a roll from the bread basket without offering it to your neighbor first.
Right. Have some.
See, there you go. A roll. Mm-hmm. Would you like some? Can I get you some water? Can I get you something to eat?
Mm-hmm. That's etiquette. Would you like some butter with that? Yes.
Right. Okay. Now, Ronline, you and I both agree on this one restaurant that has the best etiquette for people when they go there?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Because when whatever you ask for, no matter how ugly you might ask or how polite you may ask, whatever you ask them for, their response is my pleasure.
My pleasure. Yes.
And Ronline is big on those two words, my pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't get much simpler than that. Mm-hmm. Please, thank you.
Right. And in my case, it's my pleasure.
Okay, it's my pleasure. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's a service action. Now, here's something too, Ronline, that people tend to not really focus on, but they need to give it some thought. So hope is not an action. Hope is not an action. Hope won't get it. Mm-mm. That's a thought. You know, I hope my check comes today. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's not an action word. So we have to operate in action words, especially with etiquette. Now, here's a good one. Be punctual.
Yes.
Which means what?
Don't be late.
Don't be late. Be on time. Mm-hmm. And as the line from the movie Drumline, when the band director said, you're on time if you're 5 minutes early, you're late if you're on time.
Yes.
Huh?
That's correct.
That's correct? Mm-hmm. I got one better than that. There was a professor who used to teach at Bethune-Cookman University back in the day. If you came to his class late, you know what he would tell you?
Return where you came from?
Nope. You're too early. I mean, you're too late for today and too early for tomorrow. So you can just go back home. You're too late for today and you're too early
for tomorrow.
Wow. Etiquette. So proper etiquette in the 21st century, and again, we talk about etiquette being things of being polite, being kind, being thoughtful, common sense things that, you know, hopefully you were taught some things as you were growing up.
Right. So really and truly, common sense is not common. It has to be taught. You have to learn it.
Right. Mm-hmm. And see, etiquette also relates to having good manners. Mm-hmm. Etiquette, good manners, having some etiquette, you know. And one of my pet peeves is if you and I are talking face to face. Let's say we're in a grocery store and you and I are talking face to face in the middle of the aisle. I've seen people either just walk through, don't say anything, or people will stand there as if they're waiting for you to acknowledge them so they can pass through. Now, I've been known to make somebody wait when they want to pass through, because it's like, what do you say if you want to go through some people talking? What do you say?
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's just good manners. Excuse me. And when you say those two words, the people hear you. They say, oh, and they'll move out the way or they'll move aside so you can pass by. But you walking through, you know, us old schoolers, you do something like that, you and I talking to somebody walk through, as that person walks through you, we'll say it for them. Excuse you.
Yes.
Excuse you. And they'll turn around like, huh? Excuse you. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, excuse you. It's like you still waiting on them to say it. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Right? Or that person standing there, you know, and waiting, and you're waiting on them to just say, "Excuse me." Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because if they say, "Excuse me," and you say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Let me move out the way," and they're going about their business. But if you're just going to stand there like I'm supposed to know what, I don't know what you're doing by you standing there. Are you waiting for us to pause? Huh?
Yeah. I don't know if you're waiting for us to let you in the conversation or not.
Or not, right? You waiting for us to pause to let you in? You know, I don't know. And I see that happen with folks, and I've been known to just make them wait.
So, Earl, since you were in the kitty land territory at once upon a time, I've been in situations where children just look like they were just going to walk right through you. And me, I would have to look and see, like, okay, what's getting ready to happen here? Are you getting ready to collide with me? You know? And then they'll try to walk around or whatever. And it's like, there's no room here to walk around. So, I'm just waiting to see if you're going to say what you need to say. And then finally, they say, excuse me, because I'm like, okay, when did excuse me, the phrase, leave the English language? What happened to it?
Not.
Right, it did not.
It did not. Excuse me did not leave the English language. The action of excuse me that requires someone to pay attention. It's like you're having a conversation and someone says, excuse me, may I say something? Or excuse me, may I interject something? Or excuse me, what did you say? It did not leave, but etiquette expert Valerie Sokolowski says it's a matter of interacting with others and just demonstrating a way of being polite. You know, being kind, gracious, polite, all those things are part of etiquette. And when you aren't taught those things, you can learn some very harsh lessons from people who, if that's what they totally believe in, like you said, kiddies, won't say something and you have to correct them because, a child is a child. Okay, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, they're still a child. They don't know. If they're not being taught at home, then let me help teach you something. And of course, for those who want to have attitude, it's like, well, you'll run into a teacher and say, well, your attitude is not going to take you far. It's like running into that brick wall. You're going to keep hitting your head into that wall, and the wall will soften your head.
Yes, it will.
Okay, it'll break you down, and you'll learn. I was looking at something this morning on TV, and it was a disciplinary thing. And when the discipline was being approached, one guy, after a while, one guy, one person wanting the buck a system. It's a group, and one guy in the group don't want to go along. So you punish everybody. So after enough punishments, here's what happens. The person that still don't want to go along, okay, the group will then correct you. They will then correct you because they're tired of going through that punishment. And when I was doing scouting, I would tell my scouts, I would tell them, one will suffer for all, and all will suffer for one. And at first, they may not have gotten it until it actually got applied. So if we were out camping or we were doing something collectively as a unit and one person didn't do something, our discipline in my troop was doing push-ups. Now, in scouting, one of the things in scouting said physically strong. You got to be fit. That's a part of it. That's part of the oath. So, okay, this person doesn't want to do it. So collectively, everybody else is going to do it for them. Now, who's mad?
Everybody who's mad for that person. Yes.
So you ask them again, are you ready to do it now? No, I ain't doing nothing. All right, everybody, let's keep going. Now, after it's gotten to the point where you know that everybody is good and mad, you say, okay, well, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to just walk away. I got something I need to do right now. I'll be back. the group will take care of that one. They will make it very uncomfortable for that one. So the next time you ask the group to do something, everybody's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Or when the group mess up, I didn't have nothing to do. I wasn't even around. Yeah, but you got to take the good with the bad. So you got to suffer just like they suffered. But I didn't do anything. Now you flip it back. Well, you're getting ready to do something now. And if you don't want to do it, it's going to flip. So these things are learning processes. We have to teach, or we as people in society, teaching and learning politeness, gracious, kindness are all just part of being good citizens, good people, and it's a lot of people who are like that, but it's always one or two that turn the apple cart over and make it difficult. So when we talk about these things, of having etiquette, and then when we talk about etiquette at when we have meals, when you go to sit down, and I would think with most families, I know in most Black families, before you put one grain of rice in your mouth, you better do one thing before you eat one thing.
You better say that blessing. I know that's what? Right. You better say that blessing, honey. You better say your blessing.
Okay, you're not gonna say grace? Oh, okay. I guess we won't be eating.
You won't be eating.
Okay. No. You
need to leave the table, honey.
Right. But I'm hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, we must get ready to say the blessing, honey. We're gonna let you leave.
And I think some of the etiquettes that and mannerisms that we learn, we keep them at home, but when we get out in public, we tend not to want to do them because we don't want to be criticized or scrutinized by people. So I know I've seen you go out to eat and the food is brought and you just dive right in. But then there are times where someone at the table will say, let me bless the food.
Mm-hmm.
Let me offer up grace. Let me say some words of thankfulness, because that's all it is. You're thankful,
yes,
for this nourishment for your mind and your body. And that's all you're doing. You're giving thanks. And that's what that blessing is. I'm giving thanks. Hey, especially if you hadn't eaten in a while. Oh, I'm definitely giving thanks. But some people, it comes out and they just dive right in. It's like, you ever been at a situation like that where everybody start eating and you sitting there and you haven't started eating yet and everybody looking at you like, why are you not eating?
Yeah, somebody to bless the food. What's going on?
Bless the food.
Mm-hmm.
Or you just have to do your own individual blessing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it's all about you as an individual. So if the group does it, that doesn't mean you shouldn't. You can still bless your own food.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And some people are like, I didn't say mine either. So it's all about doing things at a level that you're not trying to embarrass anyone, but there are ways of doing things. And again, gracious, kindness, politeness, manners, that's all a part of etiquette, So here's another thing. When you sneeze.
Oh my goodness. Talk about it.
Huh?
Talk about it. Tell them they're supposed to say, God bless you.
And if you don't say anything but bless you, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
now, they went from sneezing in your hand to sneezing in your elbow because of COVID. Because of spreading germs, because you sneeze in your hand, then you shake somebody's hand. Wow. Yeah. So I tend to say that when you're in an environment at an elementary school, there's a lot of walking germs at that school.
Mm-hmm.
And someone might say, what kind of walking germs are you talking about? All them little people, they're walking germs.
Yes.
You go in that room and somebody's got a cold and you go home and you come back the next day, you got a cold. Yeah, them walking germs got you. Because, hey, here's what's really funny. Kids have no concept of germs when they're distributing food. If they've got some chips and you say, give me some of the chips, they'll stick their hand, give you the chips, and that other child who wanted the chips to start eating, they have no concept of making sure that, dude, don't be giving me your food with no dirty hands. I don't know where you, what's the phrase, Ronline?
I don't know where your hands been.
I just saw you sneeze in your hand. Oh, no. Hey, Ronline, we all know what that means. Oh, no. That's no.
That's a no. No.
No, thank you. No. And that's another thing. Thank you. No, thank you.
Thank you and no, thank you.
Okay, would you like some of this? Thank you. No, thank you. I don't care for any. So, but man, those kids will pass those germs along to each other like, I mean, nobody's business. You know, I just watching them like, and then they'll say, "Miss Kitchen, you want something?" No.
Right.
We're at the halfway point of our show today here on the Kitchings table. I'm Earl Kitchings, your host. Joining me as always, my co-host Ronline Cannady. Join us every Tuesday morning. Every Tuesday, maybe not in the morning, but every Tuesday you can catch us, or you can go to our channel and catch one of our episodes if you want to see what we're talking about. And let me tell you, here at the Kitchings table, nothing's off the table. That's the way we do things here. Nothing's off the table. We will talk about any and everything. We are very diverse in our subject and content matter. So join us here on the Kitchings table and tell your friends about us so they can either tune in or watch one of our episodes. So Ronline, we talk about the etiquettes of things, politeness. Real quick, wait to eat until everyone is seated and served. Okay? Wait to eat until everyone is seated and served. Another one, put your napkin next to your plate, not on it. Pass the food to the right. That's an etiquette. That's an etiquette. Pass to the right. And if you notice, when people come to serve you, they serve you from the right and take from the left. Here's another one. Don't scarf. Don't scarf down your food. What does that mean, Ronline?
Like it's your last meal. And then take your time to chew your food.
Take your time to chew your food. Don't scarf it down. What if people tell you, "Hey, slow down. It ain't going nowhere."
Down. It's not going anywhere. That what's on your plate is on your plate, baby. You know? Yes.
You know,
you're not in a competition with anyone.
People put up that arm as a guard. No, this is my food. Yes. This is my food.
You don't have to worry about anybody taking off your plate, baby. What was on your plate is yours.
Yep. So scarfing is equivalent to gulping. Don't scarf down your food. Don't gulp it down. Don't eat fast. Here's a good one. Now, when we go out to eat at restaurants, what is the general thought for tipping? What is that percentage, Ronline?
Now it's gone up to what? 15%? 20%. I'm sorry.
20%. They're saying tip 20% now. It used to just be 10%. Now they want it to be 20%. Okay. Here's an etiquette for tipping, though. Here's an etiquette for tipping. Poor service.
A penny.
Poor service.
A penny.
That's what you would tip.
That's what my sister said.
Some people not tipping a penny. Poor service. I'm not giving you anything.
Okay.
Service poor. And if you're leaving a restaurant and a manager or someone asks you, how'd you enjoy everything? Just be honest and let them know. Because it doesn't help, because the next the next customer comes along is going to get that same waiter or waitress, and they're still giving out that poor service. Let them know. So that manager can pull their coattail and, hey, look, I don't know what you're doing or not doing. You need to correct it. Folks are not happy with you. That's why you're not getting any tips, right? You run it back and forth. Okay, and they're not tipping you because your service is poor. But tipping is now at a 20% rate. Here's one that I really want to just spend a little time with, because I used to have a major problem with it. I don't have as major a problem as I used to. Sometimes I may not do it, but most of the time now I do it. Introduce the person of higher status first, or just introduce that person that other people don't know to everyone.
Okay.
A lot of people, they don't do that. And you know, one of the reasons that people don't do it, you know why?
They weren't taught.
That's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons. But if the person forgets the name, then they may not introduce that person because they're embarrassed because they forgot the name. So they don't introduce them and just, act like there's no introduction necessary. I was put in check one time about not introducing a person to friends who my friends did not know. And the person who was my guest put me in check about not introducing them. Okay. And that became a big red flag for me. So now going forward, 90% of the time, very seldom will I not introduce a person to, if it's 4 people there and I know all 4 people, I'm going to introduce that person to everybody.
Okay.
Okay. But people, because and people get embarrassed. Oh, I can't remember her name. When you can't remember a person's name, most times you won't address that issue. You just kind of hope that it passes by. What should you really do? What should you say, or what should you do?
You should say, excuse me, but your name escapes me right now. Can you remind me of who you are?
Now, you put it in a very eloquent and polite way. Your name escapes me right now, which is the equivalent to saying, I forgot your name. And we all have memory losses where we forget. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not the best with remembering names most times. But when I do remember names, okay, if I don't remember name, I'm like you. Hey, I forgot your name. What was your name again? And you know what? People will tell you. They will tell you. It's more embarrassing if you don't do it. It's more embarrassing because they figure you know their name, and so you're not going to introduce me. It doesn't work. It makes everybody look bad. So if you forget a name of a person, ask them their name. If you need to introduce a person to everybody else, just make the introductions. Ronline, this is James, Bill, Tom, and what was your name again? Oh yeah, Earl. Because nobody wants to be left out of that situation. You want to be formally introduced. You want to feel not that you're important. You just want to feel that somebody acknowledges you.
Yeah, because you are important. You're there. You were asked to be there. So yes, you need to be acknowledged. Everyone else is.
Okay, so, and again, if you forget the person's name, ask the person. Just ask. They'll tell you. They might joke with you and say, "Oh, you don't forget my name." Hey, I forgot, man. My bad. I forgot. I'm sorry. See, that's 2 apologies. My bad. I'm sorry. Would you mind telling me?
I'm gonna tell you this funny story real quick, as I've shared with you before, but I'm gonna share it with the public. So my mother and I, we saw each other at the stadium. It was baseball. Yes, it was baseball. And we were just sitting, I was surprised to see her. She was surprised to see me. So I came and sat with her and her group. Well, this lady turned around and said, "Hey." Now I'm thinking that she's a part of my mother's group. Well, she
Okay.
went through all of our family history with us, asking us about different people in the family, how they're doing or whatever. I just assumed that she knew who my mother is, right? But she also knew a lot about me.
Right.
Well, when she left, I asked my mother, I said, Mom, I said, who was that? My mother said, I don't know. And I'm looking at her like, you gotta be kidding me. How you
Exactly.
let her ask all about the family? You're answering her questions and you not know who she is. So that at that point I say from now on, if I'm ever in a situation like that, I need to know who I'm speaking to, because you don't know who knows who, you don't know who
Right.
knows you or your family. So just ask.
Too embarrassed to ask.
Mm-hmm.
I'm too embarrassed to ask. So I won't ask. I'm too embarrassed. I should know their name, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't. It's not that I don't know that I can't remember their name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a difference between not knowing a person's name and not remembering their name. So if you don't know someone, then of course you should know their name. I don't know their name. Who is that? I don't know their name. You spoke to them, but I don't know their name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know their name. I was never introduced to them, so I don't know their name.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know someone and you forget their name, I forgot your name. And like you said, your name escapes me right now. Would you mind tell? Okay, people will do that. I mean, and that's just the way it should be done. So don't let forgetting or not knowing be the reason why you don't
Do a proper
diminish.
introduction.
Right, because it's more embarrassing when you don't. Because the
Right.
person is looking at you like, and if you don't say anything, they're sitting like they don't even know my name, and they
Right.
might challenge you. What's my name?
They have a commercial out about that right now.
Right. So if they ask, they say, "What's my name?" and you go
Mm-hmm.
like, uh, is the first answer
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
somebody not knowing something correctly, or it's they don't have the answer. Um, just be upfront and honest. I forgot your name. Okay, you forgot. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell it to you this time. Don't forget. Or there's a way to remember a person's name when you're introduced to someone for the first time and you want to remember their name. You look at them in the eyes and you repeat their name 3 times. If that doesn't work, relate their name to something that will give you a signal to jog your memory to remind you of their name and who they are.
And that doesn't
So
mean that you come up with a nickname for
no,
them.
no.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, and I tell people this with a smile, um, because I get people to mispronounce my name quite a bit. They say my last name just like they hear it. They don't hear the ending of the name. They hear the first uh, 7 letters, but they don't hear the last 2 letters. They
Mm-hmm.
hear the Kitchin, and that's what they say. And when people have said that to me, I said, well, as long as you don't call me bathroom, we'll be all right. Living room, dining room, okay. Just don't call bedroom. Just don't call me bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So something to jog your memory about, something that'll make you remember their name, or just look at them and say their name 3 times, and it should be embedded in your memory. So that's that. So now I found these communication etiquettes that I wanted to share today, Ronline. 21st century etiquette for communicating for the Z generation. At number 10, I put down, don't have loud phone conversations in public.
Oh man. Go ahead.
Hmm?
Go ahead. Go ahead. That's
Wow.
good. That speak volumes.
Let others know when they are on speakerphone.
Yes.
Put away your phone when you're with others.
Yes.
Don't say yes when you mean no.
Correct.
Respond to personal text within 8 hours. Avoid voicemails or make them brief. I got a lot to say. I can't make it brief. I got to get all of this out.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get it all out. Number 4, don't post pictures of other people on social media without asking first.
Yes.
Ooh. Here's one. Write, for those of you who can write, because most people, I mean, not most, but many people may try to just use emojis to say what they're saying. And it's like, okay, I don't know what all the emojis mean. And each emoji has 4 or 5 different meanings. So don't send me an emoji and thinking I know what you meant, because I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means in this content, in this context. Mm-hmm. Write complete sentences for emails, but not for text. I would have issue with that.
Yes.
Because write a sentence and punctuation, no matter if it's the email or a text. Don't just leave it dangling. Do you want something? What do you want to eat? I just want whatever, and you don't put a period at the end. Mm. Now, here's one that's really annoying. Don't send one-word emails. Are you going to the store? Yes. No. No, I'm not going to the store. Yes, I'm going to the store in 5 minutes. But just to say yes. And some people say, well, you asked and I answered yes. You asked me if I was going and I said yes. Okay. Those one-worders sometimes it's like, wow. It to me, that shows a lack of the ability to communicate.
Okay.
And finally, don't add your boss on social media. So those are the 21st century communication etiquette. I will now yield to you, Ronline, for your Black History moment.
All right. Thank you so much for that on etiquette. We're going to come back on that topic, though, because we need to hit about the names and all of that. How do you address people and that kind of thing? So we will return that topic back. My Black History acknowledgement today is Gladys Knight, the Empress of Soul. There's so much that I could say about this woman, how she has turned her and Dionne Warwick and the rest of them have really brought joy into the entertainment industry in a way of etiquette, if you will. Today, she has won 4 Grammy Awards as a solo artist and 3 Grammy as a with her original group, the Pips, Gladys Knight and the Pips, if you all remember that. And she started her career back in the 60s and still going strong. I understand she has a tour that's coming up. She's been credited alongside with Dionne Warwick, Stevie Wonder, and Elton John for the AIDS benefit single. That's What Friends Are For. It became a triple #1 mega hit back in 1985, and it won a Grammy. And the reason why I want to bring that up to you is because back in the 80s, when they first labeled what AIDS was, and how it affects people in that time, in that era today, I'm thankful for the awareness that has come up about AIDS and not to be shunning people away, because they were doing that back then. If you were found out to have AIDS or what have you, you were shunned away, and your support system, that's when you really need it the most. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the drugs that they are found today to be able to help people live longer. And Earl, I turn that back over to you. There's so much I could say. And while we're waiting on Earl, before we could close out our show, please check out Elaine Swan and Jackie Verna Thompson. They are teaching etiquette along with many others. So thank you so much. And
Well, oh, there I am. Okay. So that's going to do it for us today here on the Kitchings table. Join us every Tuesday morning. Myself and Ronline Cannady always enjoy being with you. So until the next time, as we always say, do something good for somebody else today. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.